The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our head for a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Monday, May 4, 2026, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Friday, May 1, 2026 is read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions, messages from the Assembly.
Senator Fernandez moves to discharge from the Committee on Environmental Conservation Assembly Bill number 5850, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 3629A, third reading calendar 379.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor.
That's it.
Reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communications and reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Amendments offered to the following third reading calendar bills by Senator May, Calendar 123, Senator Mayer, Calendar 827, Senator Comrie, Calendar 867.
The amendments are received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator
I
Gianaris.
move to adopt the resolution calendar with the exception of resolutions 1983, 1992, 2043, and 2044.
All those in favor of adopting the resolution calendar with the exceptions of resolutions 1983, 1992, 2043, and 2044, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution calendar is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Let's begin, Mr. President, by taking up Resolution 2044 by Senator Gianaris. Read its title and call on me, please.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 2044 by Senator Gianaris honoring Carlos Beltran upon the occasion of his induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame and in recognition of his extraordinary career and philanthropic contributions.
Senator Gianaris on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Él está aquí, my colleagues. For those who speak Spanish, you know that means he is here. And for those who are Mets fans of a certain age, you know that that was the walk-up music to one Carlos Beltran when he was on the Mets. We are privileged to have him join us in the chamber today on an auspicious occasion. You may have read that he is being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown this year. And he has chosen, sorry for all the Yankee fans, but he has chosen to go in wearing a Mets cap into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Of course, he played with the Mets twice as long as he played with the Yankees, so it makes sense. Some of those great Mets teams from the mid-2000s that so many of us enjoyed. And what a career it has been. If you look at him statistically, he is most deserving of this honor. He is an all-around great in baseball, both batting, fielding, running the bases. He did it all, and he was a pleasure to watch as a fan when, I would like to say when I was growing up, but I was already old enough to be in these chambers back then, in the assembly at the time. It's not just his sports prowess, of course, that we're here to honor. He is a great philanthropist. He has opened a school in Puerto Rico. He has provided hurricane relief. He is focused on educating children with a lot of the work being done in his native Puerto Rico. And as everybody here knows, New York has great interest in what happens on that island. There are so many Puerto Ricans that live here who care about their homeland, and so much of what happens in Puerto Rico affects what we do here in New York. And so it is, I know there are other members who want to speak and offer their words of thanks to Carlos Beltran, but for this Mets fan, we appreciate all the years you spent here, appreciate your love of the Mets, because, you know, we do appreciate that. We also have, Carlos, people from Queens all throughout the chamber today who are also appreciative of what you've done for our borough specifically. And congratulations to you. Thank you for all you have done, and welcome to the New York State Senate.
Thank you, Senator Gianaris. Senator Skoufis on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to express my gratitude to the Dean of the Mets fandom, Senator Gianaris, here in the chamber, and certainly privileged and thankful to be in Carlos Beltran's presence here. There are 281 player Baseball Hall of Famers, 281. Only 3 are Mets or former Mets. We have Tom Seaver, we have Mike Piazza, and now we have Carlos Beltran. I was born in 1987. I missed the championship by a year. I'm still waiting 38 years later. In the meantime, however, I've been rewarded with so many incredible memories of both good teams and bad teams, and many of those memories on many of those good teams involve Carlos Beltran. Prior to him coming to the Mets in 2005, and the Met fans here certainly know this, we suffered through a series, several, not just mediocre seasons, but really, really tragic seasons. And in 2005, that began to turn around. We had an above 500 team for the first time in many years that year, made the playoffs the next year, the subsequent couple of years. We won't talk about why we missed the playoffs, but we had competitive teams and above 500 teams in 2007 and 2008. And so much of that success is attributable to Carlos Beltran. For 13 years, he held the Mets home run record until it was only very recently rebroken. And memorable home runs, back-to-back games with grand slams. We had a bottom of the 16th inning walk-off home run against the Phillies in one memorable game. 3-time Gold Glover, including one of the most incredible catches in Mets history. For those of you who follow baseball, you may remember Minute Maid Park, where the Astros played, there was a hill, only place in baseball, in dead center, there was a hill at a 30-degree incline straight towards the back of center field, and Carlos Beltran made one of the most incredible, memorable over-the-shoulder catches while running up the hill to save the game for the Mets. And so I'm thrilled to meet you in person. It's really such a privilege and a joy, and to grab your autograph on the active list. And just really, really thankful for your contributions, certainly to me, my family, our memories personally, but more importantly, the indelible mark you've left on millions of Met fans throughout the state. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Skoufis. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm a Met fan from the Bronx, so it is, I was born in 82, so in 86 I got to see one. But as Senator Skoufis mentioned, sometimes it's been hard being a Mets fan, but it was always easy to root for now batting for the New York Mets, number 15, Carlos Beltran. Like like you hear that every time he came up, and he made magic happen. 41 home runs as a switch hitter, right? Again, like that Todd Hundley for the record, but as a switch hitter and playing excellent defense as a 5-2 player, to go out there and do things like that in the field, and then to come back and hit above 300, stealing bases, the highest stolen base percentage. I'm forgetting about it, but for anybody in the history of baseball, it's like 83% or something like that, I recall. Not just basketball, guys. I love baseball, too. 83%, the highest of anybody with over 300 attempted stolen bases in the history of Major League Baseball. He is what they call a 5-2 player. You can hit for power, hit for average, throw, field, catch. But the sixth tool is the advocacy that you do for Puerto Rico, Mr. Beltran. Like the making sure that you never forgot where you've come from. That means more than any accomplishment you can ever make on the field, because you are creating fields of play for young Puerto Ricans and young Latinos and young African Americans and everybody under the sun because of the work that you've done. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame career, but even more, you're a Hall of Fame guy. I vote aye, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. Senator Oberacker on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. As some in this body know, I have the absolute pleasure of representing in the 51st Senate District, Cooperstown, of course, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is enshrined, and soon to be Mr. Beltran will be there as well. And also, maybe another little factoid that not most everybody knows, but I have something in common with Carlos. I, too, am in the Baseball Hall of Fame. My first piece of legislation passed in this House was to make baseball the official sport of New York. And so my Penn certificate hangs in the Hall of Fame. Now, that would make one heck of a Jeopardy question, folks, if any of you were out there. But as one Hall of Famer to another, welcome, and I look forward to meeting you in Cooperstown. Mr. President, I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Sepulveda on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to speak on this resolution of a fellow Puerto Rican from Manatí, Puerto Rico, and I encourage all of you to go see that city. It's a beautiful city in Puerto Rico. Carlos Beltran had a remarkable 20-year career in Major League Baseball, and he's one of the most respected players to ever play the game. He was a 9-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger, and he had incredible defensive skill, and one of the few players in their history of baseball, very few, with 400 home runs and 300 stolen bases. He's done a lot of philanthropy, especially in Puerto Rico, with education and disaster relief. And as a fellow Puerto Rican from Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, and Guánica, Puerto Rico, on the island, we are extremely proud of Carlos Beltran and that he's been selected to the Hall of Fame. Estamos muy orgullosos de Carlos Beltran, nuestro compatriota nacido en Manatí, Puerto Rico. Todo lo que ha hecho en béisbol, todo lo que ha hecho por la isla de Puerto Rico, estamos muy orgullosos. Y estoy aquí para decirle muchas gracias por venir aquí. El único fallo fue que no jugó más tiempo con los Yankees. And I just said that the only flaw in his history is that he didn't play more years for the New York Yankees. Muchas gracias. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator. The question is on the resolution. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Giannini.
We didn't welcome the guests.
But before we move on, we will extend to our guest a welcome on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Giannini.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thanks again to Carlos for joining us today. Let's move on to previously adopted resolution 1724 by Leader Stuart Cousins. Read that resolution's title and call on Senator Webb to speak on the resolution.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1724 by Senator Stuart Cousins, congratulating the 2026 New York State Senate Women of Distinction.
Senator Webb on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. What a great day it is in the chamber today. We have Hall of Famers, and now we also have women of distinction. And it is always an honor to recognize our women of distinction because it is both a celebration and reminder of how far we have come. Just over a century ago, women were still fighting for the right to vote and for a seat at the tables where decisions about our communities were made. Not that long ago, women were not even allowed to be on this chamber's floor. The 19th Amendment was something that took too long to secure and was an amazing glass-breaking event that shook the country. But I also think we have lost sight of the connection to the Civil Rights Act that came into law decades later and secured so many rights and outlawed discrimination in so many areas. These rights opened so many doors for so many communities, including women. Today, women are not only participating in leadership, we are leading. We have women serving at the highest levels of state government, including a woman governor, a Black woman serving as the state's attorney general, and a Black woman as our Senate Majority Leader. And in this chamber, 22 women now serve in the New York State Senate, the most in our history. That progress did not happen by chance. It is the result of generations of women who organized, persisted, and created a space where none existed. Now we carry that progress forward, but we know the work is not done. We have a hostile federal government that is trying to erase the contributions of so many communities, including women. We have seen a continued assault on the progress women have made and the rights they have secured. I am terrified that we have a group of people looking to roll back this progress, but because of today's like today and the women being honored today, I do have hope. And I'm so glad to celebrate an extraordinary group of women whose leadership and impact have strengthened our communities and shaped our state in lasting ways. This year's class reflects the true breadth of what leadership looks like in our state. These are women from different backgrounds, professions, and experiences, each making a profound difference in their own way. Among this year's honorees, 5 are being recognized posthumously: Justice Dorothy Chin Brandt, Dr. Hazel N. Dukes, Tanya Ganella Frentner, Dr. Mary Lou Maria Galvin, and Congresswoman Nita Lowey. These are women whose legacies are deeply woven into the fabric of our state and whose impact continues to be felt in the communities they shaped. I would like to share, on behalf of our Senate Majority Leader, that she has a very personal relationship with 2 of our honorees that are being recognized posthumously. Dr. Hazel Dukes and Congresswoman Nita Lowey are especially meaningful to her. They are among the first individuals that she inducted posthumously, and both have had a profound impact on not only her life and her leadership, but as well as our state. We are grateful that Dr. Duke's niece, Ms. Kimberly Irwin, is with us today to accept this honor, and I'm also grateful to my colleague, Senator Shelley Mayer, for accepting this honor on behalf of Congresswoman Lowey's family. At the same time, we are also honored to celebrate the women who are here with us today, continuing to lead by example, serve, and inspire others. To all of today's honorees, those with us, those who are a part of the Historical Women of Distinction, those we honor in memory, you represent the very best of New York. You have broken barriers, taken institutions to new heights, and opened doors to future generations. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Webb. Senator Mayer on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and it truly is my honor. I've been asked by the Majority Leader to speak about the life of Congresswoman Nita Lowey and asked by her husband, Stephen Lowey, to accept this posthumous recognition on her behalf. For anyone in this chamber who knew Congresswoman Nita Lowey, she was probably the best example of an elected official one could ever imagine. Empathetic, able to relate to anyone, incredibly hardworking, dedicated to the job she had, and determined to make a difference in a meaningful way. I know for the Majority Leader and myself, both who were her constituents and her friend, and frankly, her mentee for many years, Congresswoman Nita Lowey in our districts was able to talk to everyone, regardless of party, philosophy, status. She was the most available emotionally, and it made her such an effective Congresswoman and a leader in our communities. A little bit about her: she was born in the Bronx in 1937. She went to the Bronx High School of Science, where she was valedictorian, on to Mount Holyoke College. She worked for Mario Cuomo's campaign for lieutenant governor, and that's when I got to know her, taking the train from Croton to Albany, where she served as Assistant Secretary of State. And even from those years, she was always there with advice, counsel, but also good humor. She ran for Congress in 1988, and she defeated an incumbent Congress member, and she went on to serve until 2021, becoming the first woman to chair the House Appropriations Committee. Some of you may remember her very public support of PBS. She brought out the puppets at the hearing that we all knew from Sesame Street. But beyond that, on very serious matters, she was a passionate advocate for women. She was a passionate advocate for civil rights. She spoke openly about being a Jewish elected official, and she was an extraordinary had an extraordinary ability to work with people who disagreed and actually get things done. Over the years that I was honored to know her, and I know the majority leader as well, we saw her as a friend, but we were just in awe of her ability to translate this very human element that we rarely see in politics into power and capacity to make change. She was truly an enormous force in Congress and in our communities. We were just so fortunate to have had her. She died of breast cancer about a year ago at the age of 89. I'm so pleased that the Majority Leader has appointed her posthumously to be a woman of distinction. And I know on behalf of Steve Lowy, I was with him last week, this is a meaningful tribute to her that he will not forget, and he and his 3 daughters and their grandchildren will remember that the New York State Senate recognized how extraordinary she was and bestowed upon her this important honor. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Mayer. To our guests here in chamber and watching at home, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was adopted on March 10th. Senator Gianaris.
Now, Mr. President, let's move on to Resolution 2043 by Leader Stewart Cousins. Read that resolution's title, and once again, call on Senator Webb, please.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 2043 by Senator Stewart Cousins, congratulating the 2026 New York State Senate Women of Distinction.
Senator Webb on the resolution.
Thank you again, Mr. President. I rise today proudly as the chair of Women's Issues in the Senate with the distinct honor of recognizing the remarkable women being celebrated as part of our 2026 New York State Senate Women of Distinction. I also want to thank our Senate Majority Leader for her continued leadership in creating space for this important recognition. Each year, this program reminds us of what's possible when we uplift and call attention to extraordinary women whose leadership, service, and accomplishments have elevated our communities and have enriched the fabric of life across our great state. For the last 28 years, the Women of Distinction program has been a beacon, a shining light on women whose work may go unrecognized, but whose impact is deeply felt by all who have had the privilege of knowing them. This year's honorees come from every region of our state, every walk of life, and bring diverse stories of dedication, compassion, and excellence. They are educators, advocates, entrepreneurs, caregivers, artists, public servants, and more. Some are quiet forces for change, others are bold trailblazers, but all of them share several essential truths. They have made a difference. In lifting up others, they lift us all, and they represent the very best of us. At a time when our state and our nation continues to reckon with issues of equity and inclusion, these women show us what resilience, leadership, and true public service looks like. They have broken barriers, redefined what's possible, and created new pathways so that their communities and our state may thrive. What distinguishes this year's Women of Distinction is not only their individual accomplishments, but also their unwavering commitment to the common good. Whether they're leading grassroots organizations, mentoring the next generation, or advocating for those without a voice, they remind us that leadership is about so much more than a title. It is about real community impact. And so today, let us celebrate these women of distinction and learn from them. Let us carry their stories and lessons into the work we do here in this chamber. And let us ensure that their example continues to inspire future generations of women and girls across the Empire State. I proudly vote aye. And now, Mr. President, It is both a privilege and a personal honor to recognize an extraordinary woman and public servant from my own district, Linda Smith, as the 2026 Woman of Distinction for Senate District 52. Linda's childhood in upstate New York shaped her strong sense of community and commitment to working families. Her father was a dedicated union member who taught her the importance of using your voice in the workplace to advocate for workers. When she began working at Paul Trinity in Cortland, she quickly became active in their union, and during her 13 years at Paul Trinity and with UAW Local 1326, she served in many leadership roles, including union president, and was a strong advocate for educating workers about workplace hazards and for improving safety conditions. In addition to being a lifelong champion of workers' rights, Linda served for more than a decade as the chief of staff for former Assembly member Barbara Lifton, who is also here today. Today, Linda continues to serve her community as a substitute teacher at Marathon Central High School. Mr. President, Linda Smith, just like all of our honorees that we are celebrating this year, embody the extraordinary nature of the women that we not only honor each year as part of our Women of Distinction ceremony, but the work we do every day. Mr. President, I want to thank our Senate Majority Leader for her continued support of this very important program and, of course, this resolution. Please join me in applauding Linda Smith and all of our 2026 Women of Distinction for their inspiration and their leadership. It is because of all of you honorees. Younger girls are watching this today and will see what leadership looks like. She will hear your stories, learn from your example, and begin to imagine something greater for herself. And of course, we will be the proud beneficiaries of that. So let us continue to open doors wider, build longer tables, and tear down barriers whenever necessary. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Webb. Senator Helming on the resolution.
Mr. President, I am so honored to rise to recognize and celebrate our 2026 New York State Senate Women of Distinction. I look forward to this annual tradition that truly brings this chamber together to celebrate the extraordinary women from every corner of our state. As you heard a little bit earlier, our state has a proud and powerful legacy of courageous women. From the earliest days of the women's rights movement, we have seen what happens when women step forward and lead. Women like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Harriet Tubman, they didn't wait for change, they made it happen. And pioneers like Elizabeth Blackwell and Clara Barton opened doors in medicine and service. I'm so proud because so many of these trailblazers lived, worked, and in the case of one of them, was put on trial right in my area. The Finger Lakes region is the foundation of the women's rights movement. The women we honor today are building on that legacy, and it is because of them, when I think about future opportunities for our future generations, including my own 7-year-old granddaughter, Bristol, and my new granddaughter, who's expected in June, that I'm very excited and appreciative of everything that our women of distinction are doing. Mr. President, I'm especially proud to recognize my nominee, Megan Frieda, Executive Director of Embrace Your Sisters. Like so many women who successfully balance career, family, and service, Megan balances a full-time professional career as a Vice President District Manager for Wegmans with her volunteer leadership and responsibilities at home. At Embrace Your Sisters, Megan has turned compassion into action and action into impact. Through this all-volunteer organization, she leads efforts to provide direct, immediate financial assistance to women who are facing breast cancer. Since 2006, Embrace Your Sisters has provided nearly $1 million in financial assistance to hundreds of women going through breast cancer treatments. They have helped people cover rent, pay their mortgages, make their car payments, pay for auto insurance and home insurance. Hint, hint, my fellow members here. People need help with auto insurance. This assistance has proved to be a lifeline, keeping a roof overhead, a car on the road, and providing stability during some of life's hardest moments. At Embrace Your Sisters, Megan follows in the footsteps of founders Alicia Krieger, Chris Ann Phillipson, Lisa Cessna, Daisy Nichols, and Judy Phillipson Green. To Megan and to all of our women of distinction, I want to thank you. Thank you for showing us what leadership looks like in action, for stepping up when it matters most, and for reminding us that one person can make a difference. And Mr. President, I want to wrap up. Mother's Day is just a few days away, and I want to take a moment to recognize all the moms who are here today. Whether you're a first-time mother, a grandmother, a single mom, a working mom, or a stay-at-home mom, thank you and happy Mother's Day. Mr. President, I proudly vote yes on this resolution.
Thank you, Senator Helming. To our guests and the extraordinary women in our chambers, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The question is on the resolution. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Let's now move on to previously adopted resolution 1798 by Senator Stavisky. Read that resolution's title and call on Senator Stavisky, please.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1798 by Senator Stavisky, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim May 5, 2026 as Queen's Day in the state of New York.
Senator Stavisky on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to our friends from the Queen's Chamber of Commerce, the sponsor of today. We welcome you, particularly Tom Gresh, the Executive Director, Joanne Persaud from the Chamber, Julia Del Palacios from the Queen's Theater in the Park, known as Q-Tip, which is going to be offering some great programs, and to Peter Rose from Hydro Quebec. We welcome you all, particularly the mothers. As the Senator Helming said, Mother's Day is coming. And Queens is the home of so many mothers and fathers, etc. In fact, it is home to 2.3 million people. As I've said in the past, Queens is unique in that it's a borough of neighborhoods. You don't say, I'm from Queens, you say I'm from Astoria, if your name is Senator Gianaris. And the other members, obviously, will talk about their communities. It's also the home of so many small businesses, and the Queen's Chamber of Commerce represents many of these businesses. In fact, most of the money that's generated economically is done by small business owners. But it's also the home of some large establishments. The airports, people come from all over the world, and the first place in America where they set foot is usually JFK. And we hope that they stay in the county, because we welcome people from other parts of the world, and we want to keep them safe, become citizens, etc. It is also the home to so many sports venues, particularly Citi Field. And we welcome Carlos Beltran and his service as a Met. And it is home also to more than 1,000 languages that are spoken in Queens County. I'm not going to wax poetic about it, but this evening, many of the restaurants in Queens are coming to the Hart Tower, the Hart Lounge rather, and they will be bringing food from their native countries. And lastly, Queens is an interesting place because many of the people who live in Queens were not born in this country. They came here as immigrants, and they brought with them their rich cultural traditions. And many of them opened restaurants and provided all kinds of cultural events, etc. And we are home to the living example of what some folks have a problem with. We are diversity, we are equality, and we are inclusiveness. And I hope this continues. Thank you, Madam President. Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Stavisky. Senator Comrie on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to celebrate Queens and Albany again today. As I've said many times from this podium, I represent the best district in the state in the 14th Senate District, which is in Queens. We all are proud of our home districts, but I'm especially proud to continue to support Queens Day in Albany today, as we have such a diverse borough. As Senator Stavisky said, we are home to the airport, so all of you have come through Queens at one time or the other in your travels, and I would hope that the next time you all come to Queens, you stop by the 14th Senate District and say hello so that we can show you the beauty and diversity of Queens. I just want to react to one thing that happened in Queens yesterday. Unfortunately, there was another act of anti-Semitism which affected three different mosques, three different temples in our area, and I just want to decry that. We have to fight back on anti-Semitism whenever it rears its ugly head. There's actually a press conference happening in my part of Queens right now where it's happening. But that is not what Queens is all about. Queens is a family area. Queens is an area that people come to rest and relax. You know, Brooklyn people come to Queens because they can't stand the density in Brooklyn. The Bronx people come to Queens because they like the food. You know, Long Island people come to Queens on their way to the airport because they like to be able to stop and visit their family members that lived here. I have so many Long Islanders that told me their parents were originally from Queens. Unfortunately, Queens is the place where the Orange Menace lives, but they lived and grew up, but that's another story. But Queens is also a happy place for many people. And I want to thank all of the people that came up on the buses today. I want to ask you to continue to help us as we try to close down our budget to make sure that we fight for the things that Queens needs, that we continue to work together as a borough to make sure that we are well represented. And I want to thank my colleagues in government also for making sure that this day happens. Unfortunately, it's happening against our Women of Distinction Day. I don't know how that happened, Tom, but we'll talk about that later. But tonight at the Egg, there will be over 30 vendors that will have delicacies and treats for people to come. So please, if you can come and indulge, feel free. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Comrie. Senator Sanders on the resolution.
I'm sure that those claps were for me in advance of my statement, so I appreciate that. Mr. President, I am a Southerner from the most southern east part of Southeast Queens, and I too am speaking for Queens. I think it is a great place. I represent the talented 10th Senatorial District, and here is a secret that I'll share with all of those who are not from Queens. In the summer, there is no better place to be than in the Rockaways, Queens. As a matter of fact, everyone has a Rockaway story that they can tell. Wherever you go, any place in the world, speak of the Rockaways and you'll make friends immediately. And some of the stories they can tell in public. I am very glad that all of my friends from Queens have traveled. I will see you. First, we have to, of course, honor these great women that deserve honor every day of the week. And after that, we will, in fact, all of the women, let me invite you all to come to the Egg and celebrate with us in Queens, because Queens is open and we want everyone there. Having said those things, I understand that I'm slowing down progress in getting there, so I will slow us no longer. Go Queens. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Sanders. Senator Adabo on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues in welcoming our guest from Queens, a lifelong proud resident of the great borough of Queens. I want to thank Senator Savitsky for introducing this resolution. Queens will be home to 2 casinos, and so we have them both here, Hard Rock as well as Resorts World in my hometown of Ozone Park. We have, obviously, many generational restaurants here with us today. Many restaurants in Queens are certainly generational. They've been around for 40 years more, and they've served so many. And then we have some new startups. So tonight you will get to taste about 40 different restaurants and, again, the taste of Queens. But I want to highlight the Queens Chamber of Commerce. During Queens' darkest times, that of Hurricane Sandy, that of the COVID pandemic, the Queens Chamber of Commerce really did step forward to help many of our small businesses who are struggling, hit both with the storm, both in terms of business, but many their homes as well. So they got hit twice. And it's certainly during, again, the COVID pandemic. But Queens Chamber of Commerce, Tom Gretsch, have been really the portal that we use to get help for others, for our small businesses. And since May is National Small Business Month, I truly want to thank Queens Chamber of Commerce for what they've done for our small businesses throughout the years and really through the darkest times of Queens at times. With 2 major airports in the borough, I do say that when you step off the airport, when you step off the plane into Queens, you step into the world. Queens is certainly diverse. It has great resiliency. It is great opportunity for entrepreneurship and endless opportunities for others. It is truly a great borough that celebrates 340 years more. As we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country, we see Queens is actually older than that. So again, it is a great borough. I am proud to be there. To all our Queens guests, thank you for your efforts. And again, welcome you to our great area of Albany. Mr. President, I vote aye on the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Adabo. Senator Ramos on the resolution.
Mr. President, I want to start by shouting out the Queens Chamber of Commerce for always doing an extraordinary job of making us feel seen here in our state's capital. And I also want to shout out Elisa Moran, the CEO of Elmhurst Hospital in my district, and so many of the other Queens MVPs who are here today. I want to start talking about a mural that's in my district. It says, "Queens is the future." It's a mural in the handball courts of IS 145 on Northern Boulevard and 80th Street. And every time I pass it, I think about just how bold that statement really is. I mean, Queens isn't perfect. It's busy, it's loud, it's complicated, but it works. And that's what makes it the future. In my district, Jackson Heights was actually once a planned community that was marketed as 100% American. It was a dog whistle in order to keep anyone who was not white, Anglo-Saxon, and Protestant out of Jackson Heights. It was a place designed to exclude. And yet today, that very same community, my hometown, sits in what is now the most diverse place in the world. And it didn't happen by accident. It happened because people pushed past those barriers. They fought, they sued, they built new lives, and they reshaped what belonging looks like. That's what Queens is to me. Not just what we are, but what we've become to get where we want to go. And diversity alone is not our story. The story is how people live together. Queens is where people from everywhere come and figure it out. Different languages, different traditions, different beliefs, and yet still the same train and the same sidewalks and the same neighborhoods. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because people chose for that to work. They wake up early, they open their businesses, they raise their families, they build something not just for themselves, but alongside each other. There's a kind of discipline to Queens, a quiet understanding that everyone's trying to get somewhere. And the respect for that hustle, that coexistence, that shared effort is what holds it all together. So when I see that mural, Queens is the future, I don't hear it as a slogan, I hear it as a challenge. Because if Queens is the future, then the question is whether everyone else is willing to learn from it. In a time when people are being told to fear anyone who looks different than them, Queens shows us something else, that it's possible to come from everywhere, anywhere, and still build something together. Not by erasing who we are, but by doing the work of living side by side. That's what we celebrate today. Not just a borough, but a blueprint. So, to all my peoples throughout Queens, God bless your life.
Thank you, Senator Ramos. Senator Persad on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. So as the person who I think is representing the smallest part of Queens and the person who moved from Queens to Brooklyn, Senator Comrie, so you know that. Did you really just say that? So again, I want to say this. The person who moved from Queens to Brooklyn and the person who represents the smallest part of Queens, I just wanted to say thank you to the Chamber and thank you to everyone from Queens who's here today to celebrate the great history of Queens. Queens, as you know, I'm Guyanese, and everywhere you go in Queens, there's a very large Guyanese population. After all, there's Little Guyana in Queens. That's right. There's Little Guyana. Anything you need, just go to Little Guyana. So happy Queens Day, and thank you for being here in Albany. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Persad. Senator Gonzalez on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I want to thank Senator Stavisky for bringing this forward and thank all of my colleagues for the things that they have said that truly represents how deeply Queens is loved. I represent 3 boroughs, and while I don't necessarily pick sides and think every borough is great, I have to say Queens is where I've lived my entire life. It's where I've had my best moments, organized, run campaigns, and some of my hardest, seeing, as someone who grew up in Jackson Heights, born in Elmhurst Hospital, my neighbors struggle in the pandemic. What I've seen throughout all of this is the capacity for everyday New Yorkers from Queens to change the world, to show that we can build community in a different way that shows our power and acceptance and celebrates our diversity. And in my district, which is Astoria and Long Island City in Western Queens, also sets a standard for things like the arts. I have the privilege of representing institutions like MoMA PS1 that just celebrated their 50th year anniversary. The Museum of Moving Image, the Noguchi Museum, we're home to hundreds of artists who have been there for decades. And in addition, I get to represent Queensbridge, which has clearly left a mark on hip hop, and I would argue, and I see my colleagues looking at me now, is the home of hip hop. A strong claim, but certainly a representation of our mark on the arts. I represent also along the waterfront, a state park, Gantry Park, that is a model for sustainability and development. And through all of this, an environmental justice community that is home to the largest power plant in the city, a peaker plant, an Asma Alley, but in the face of that as well, has built incredible coalitions and models for renewable energy, like now Hydro-Quebec, that show what we can do when we really work across levels of government to bring new projects to New York City that benefit all of us. So with all of that, I vote, of course, or I voice my support again for this resolution. I hope everyone comes and enjoys Queens Night, and I certainly thank the Chamber and all of the Queens members who have come here today for bringing the Queens love and representation that has made me and so many of us who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gonzalez. Senator Gianaris on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to all my colleagues from Queens who are expressing their pride today. And thank you to all those who have come from Queens to spend this day with us once again. You've heard the reasons why those of us who call Queens home are so proud and privileged to have that opportunity. And we don't shy away from talking about it, as you may have noticed. In fact, my colleague across the aisle, Senator Lanza, when this came up, said, "Weren't we just talking about Queens on the floor last week?" And I said, yes, and we'll probably talk about it next week too. But today we have Queens Chamber here with so many of our friends from back home who have joined us, and you really get a sense of how important and diverse and special Queens is. I mean, you have from the People's Republic of Western Queens, Kristen Gonzalez, to the most successful black community in the country in Southeast Queens, to the Jewish enclaves of Kew Gardens and Forest Hills, to one of the great Asian communities in the country in Flushing, to the South American and Latino populations of Corona and Jackson Heights, to the beaches of the Rockaways, to the suburban enclaves of the Whitestone area, and so many other communities. We represent it all. You see it reflected in the people who are chosen to represent these communities, and it is not lost on us the experiences of those who we represent, the people who have come from all over the world to come here, who have a desire to seek opportunity in this land, and Queens opens its doors and gives it to them every single day. That's the story of my parents and the story of so many others who have had this opportunity to take in all that New York offers and take advantage of the promise of Lady Liberty in our harbor. So thank you again to everyone who's here. We'll see you over at the reception in just a few minutes. Mr. President, I proudly vote aye, and thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gianaris. Senator Liu to close.
Mr. President, Senator Stavisky, the Dean of our Queens delegation, spoke about the collection of neighborhoods that make up Queens, and Deputy Leader Gianaris literally just took us through all of Queens. So I got to hand it to them for that. But, Mr. President, as the guy whose both first and last name are slang for potty, I'll have to tell you that clearly the best neighborhood is the neighborhood I represent, Flushing. So I can't get away from any of this. Other than that, amen to everything that everybody has said already. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Liu. The resolution, to our guests, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was adopted on March 24th. Senator Gianaris.
Now let's move on to Resolution 1983 by Senator Ramos. Read that resolution's title and call on Senator Ramos.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1983 by Senator Ramos, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim May 1st, 2026 as May Day in the state of New York.
Senator Ramos on the resolution.
Thank you, Señor Presidente, and happy Cinco de Mayo to everyone. But today's resolution is actually about May Day, and May Day asks us a simple question: what do we owe the people whose work makes our lives possible? Because every right working people have today was fought for, organized for, and won. From the Haymarket movement to the 8-hour workday, progress has never been handed down. It has been demanded by workers who refuse to accept anything less than dignity. And at its core, this has never just been about wages or hours or vacation time. It has always been about dignity and equity. About whether the people who do the work are treated as expendable or as essential. And here in New York, we carry that legacy forward. We are a labor state built by union and non-union workers alike, in our fields, on our construction sites, in our schools, our hospitals, and across every part of our economy. Working people make this state run. But May Day is not just about the past. It's about responsibility in the present, because too many workers are still being asked to do more with less. Too many are still fighting for fair pay, safe conditions, and basic respect. Because when people work hard and still can't get ahead, that is not just an economic problem. It's a moral one. So the question is not whether we say the right things about workers. The question is whether we are willing to do right by them. And that means doing the work of governing, strengthening wage protections, expanding access to benefits, holding bad actors accountable, making sure workers know their rights and can enforce them. Not in theory, in practice. Because rights without enforcement are just promises on paper. May Day reminds us that progress is not automatic. It happens when workers organize and when government does its job. So today, we honor the workers who came before us. We stand with the workers of today, and we recommit ourselves, not just with words, but with action, to a New York where dignity is not a privilege, but a guarantee. I respectfully, Mr. President, ask for the adoption of this resolution, and I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ramos. The question is on the resolution. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
And now, Mr. President, Resolution 1992 by Senator Myrie. Please call up that resolution and read its title and call on Senator Myrie.
Secretary will read.
Resolution 1992 by Senator Myrie, commemorating the month of May 2026 as a celebration of Fiesta de la Etnia Negra in Panama, and May 31st, 2026 as Dia de la Etnia Negra Nacional, and honoring Afro-Panamanian contributions to culture and society.
Senator Myrie on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise simply to express the pride that I have in representing an essential, beautiful, and vibrant Panamanian community in my district. This is something that's very personal to me. I am a proud son of two Costa Ricans who share a real history with Panamanians because we live right across the river. In fact, one of my earliest memories as a child is being with my dad in Costa Rica, being in a boat that left Limon to go visit relatives in Panama. And we share such a close history that people often confuse Panamanians with Costa Ricans. And I seldom, if ever, correct them because we are, in fact, one people. We come from a rich history of former slaves in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, and in Barbados, who after abolition were looking for work. And they sought to build a canal. They sought to build a railroad. They found work on banana plantations. And they went to work and never left. And so we are commemorating Black Heritage Month as celebrated in Panama and hopefully will be here in this state. But I also hope that we formalize Little Panama in my district. If you've ever been on Franklin Avenue, if you've ever been there around October, you cannot turn left or right without running into a Panamanian. The people that looked after me when I was young, my upstairs neighbor, my next door neighbor, both of them Panamanian. And earlier today, we were joined by the ambassador of Panama to New York, the consul general, the vice consul general, the 507 Roundtable Group, Comadre Communications, and the Day of Independence Committee of Panamanians in New York, along with many members of that community to commemorate this day and to push for New York City to designate Little Panama in my district. So I proudly vote aye. I proudly represent this community and urge my colleagues to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Myrie. The question is on the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Mr. President, I have a motion here. I wish to call up the following bills, which were recalled from the Assembly and are now at the desk. Senate Bill 1714 and Senate Bill 7618A.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 169, Senate Print 1714 by Senator Brooke, enactment of the Public Health Law. Calendar number 215, Senate Print 7618A by Senator Henry, enactment of the Agricultural Markets Law.
I move to reconsider the votes by which these bills were passed.
Secretary will call the roll on reconsideration.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ortso, Cousins-Zellner, ayes 62.
Bill is restored to its place on the third reading calendar.
I offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received.
Mr. President, the resolutions we took up today are all open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Gianaris.
Let's take up the calendar, please.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 273, Senate Print 3158 by Senator Scoofers, enactment of the Penal Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 273, vote in the negative. Senator Bridgeport. Ayes 61, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 377, Senate Print 2646 by Senator Steck, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 379, Assembly number 5850 by Assemblymember Glick, an act to amend the environmental conservation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect December 31st, 2026.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Senator Casaneri Fitzpatrick to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today in support of this important legislation. It's a crucial step in making New York State free of animal cruelty. This bill is an effort to rein in the exploitation and inhumane treatment of wild animals that simply are not well suited to thrive in an environment of a traveling circus. I've spoken before about how important it is that we protect our pets, as they are family members to most of us. But our protections here in New York must extend beyond that to ensure we're protecting wildlife as well. While there is a safe, responsible, and more importantly, an educational way to help bring certain animals to the public in a way that benefits not only the attendees, but raises awareness for the well-being of animals themselves, there are bad actors who exploit animals. And we need to do more to make sure that we stop those people from failing to provide medical care, food, and proper shelter for these animals. Some of these animals spend a majority of their lives on the road in cramped cages without the room to move and causing physical and psychological damage to them. I'm proud to support this legislation. I commend the sponsor for bringing it to the floor. Mr. President, I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Casaneri Fitzpatrick to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 379, vote in the negative are Senators Borrello, Gallivan, Griffo, Lanza, Ort, Steck, and Walzett. Also, Senator Oberacker. Ayes 54, nays 8.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 380, Senate Print 5014 by Senator Sepulveda, an act to amend the environmental conservation law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect 1 year, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 380, voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Gallivan, Griffo, Oberacker, Ort, Steck, and Walzett. Ayes 55, nays 7.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 511, Senate Print 197 by Senator Martinez, an act to amend the agricultural and markets law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 180th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 511, voted in the negative are Senators Bridgeport and Salazar. Ayes 60, nays 2.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 513, Senate Print 1741 by Senator Martinez, an act to amend the agriculture and markets law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 514, Senate Print 1784 by Senator Hinchey, an act to amend the agriculture and markets law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, Zellner.
Senator Hinchey to explain her vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. It may seem unimaginable, but too often when someone may vacate a house or an apartment, an animal is left behind. According to one of our humane societies in my district, across 2 counties, about 100 dogs are left behind each year. That's tragic. And so this bill would require a landlord to be able to go and once a property is vacated, to make sure that no animal, no dog, no cat, no bird, any other animal is left behind. It's incredibly important to make sure that we can then bring these animals, if they are left, to be able to find a new home and to find love and to be able to have a stable future. One of the biggest challenges for families with animals when they have to move is that maybe their next home does not allow them to take that animal, that dog, or their cat with them. That's a crisis that we have to solve, and there's a lot of work happening in this chamber to do so. But in the meantime, making sure that these animals have a place to go and they're found and not left is incredibly important. So I'm proud to vote aye. I'm glad we're passing this bill again through this chamber. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Hinchy to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Aye 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 515, Senate Print 3026 by Senator Gianaris, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 90th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 537, Senate Print 1636 by Senator Borrello, an act to authorize the Board of Education of the Salamanca City School District to establish a federal impact aid reserve fund.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 591, Senate Print 1048 by Senator Salazar, an act to amend the correction law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 591, voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Kenzari Fitzpatrick, Chan, Gallivan, Griffin, Helming, Lanza, Matera, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Steck, Tedisco, Walzett, Weber, and White. Ayes 44, nays 18.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 609, Senate Print 1664 by Senator Harkin, an act to amend the criminal procedure law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 180th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 642, Senate Print 9076 by Senator Gonzalez, an act to amend the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 655, Senate Print 2596 by Senator Mayer, an act to amend the labor law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 90th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 705, Senate Print 9207 by Senator Gianaris, an act to amend the insurance law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 705, voted in the negative are Senators Ort, Rhodes, and Walzett. Ayes 59, nays 3.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 717, Senate Print 8733 by Senator Fahey, an act to amend the public officers law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 786, Senate Print 3073A by Senator Gianaris, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 120th day and shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
Ayes 62.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 787, Senate Print 5488 by Senator Comrie, an act to amend the Agriculture and Markets Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 787, vote in the negative. Senator Walzett, ayes 61, nays 1.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 828, Senate Print 7204A by Senator Ryan, an act to amend the not-for-profit corporation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Sewell-Cutton, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 828, voted in the negative. Senator Skoufis, ayes 61, nays 1.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 840, Senate Print 428A by Senator Rivera, enactment of the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, Zellner.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 840, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Morello, Canzeri Fitzpatrick, Chan, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martinez, Matera, Obraco, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Skoufis, Steck, Tedisco, Walzig, and Weber. Ayes 42, nays 20.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until tomorrow, Wednesday, May 6th at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday, May 6th at 3 p.m.